Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world. Today we're going to be talking about some special things that are going on in Vegas. You individuals probably be surprised that I can bring these two gentlemen on board. We have with us Robert Potter, who's involved with the custom auto renovation. Thank you for being on the show, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
We got Dick SLOAN, who's with Innovation Racing.
Thanks
So
for
we're
having
going to
me.
be talking about what you guys are doing with these automobiles, the renovation and the racing. Tell us a little bit about our viewers out there. Say Las Vegas has a little bit of everything. We have all kinds of sports and whatnot. But racing is one of the things that comes to mind. That, that's probably one of the next bigger events happening here in the very near future. But without you guys, they can't get started.
That's true.
All right. So tell us a little bit, Mr. Porter, about what you do with the custom auto renovation. What's with that?
Well, with Fab Lab, we do from early model to late model, restorations, modifications, custom crazy things that people come up with, where they're taking a car and putting it on the ground to taking it 12, 14 inches higher into the ground, just from motors to suspensions to transmissions to interiors. EV cars are now coming in big into play. So if you can think it, we build it.
How about these cars now with electric cars? What's with that?
We've done a couple at the shop over the last couple of years. A couple of the Teslas where they are actually, one is the lowest Tesla in the country. Until somebody else comes out with more, where it's actually all electronic airbags on the ground. Ridiculous sound systems, crazy wheel lightings, interior lightings, cabinet lightings under the vehicles.
Would you say that that's the future of automobiles and about far as renovation and whatnot?
No, it's definitely big. And since EVs have come out, now they're national, they've got their own magazines, and it's the next thing that's added to the world that's just taking off. But a lot that like we do and Dick does is you take these older vehicles that are classics that never go away, and now they do things to make them, to keep that classic look from the day they came off the showroom, but ride with modern day technology and modern day comfort and modern day power.
Well, amazing stuff. Now, Dick, SLOAN, your innovation racing.
Yes.
I mean, where do you come in with the racing? I mean, you got to do anything with him, with his car?
Yes,
You got to work together hand in hand, right?
It's kind of the same stuff. He actually became a client of mine. We hit it off. I used to street race with his brother 20 years ago. And I just liked his style. He likes my style. And we're going to join his pizzazz with the lower trucks and the high quality show cars with the stuff I do. I do chassis cars, like anything from an 1890 like Brushmore to a 2024 Bentley. Anyone else to go faster, that's what we do.
Wow. And talking about fast, what's the fastest car you got?
I got a 3,200 horsepower 70 CUDA that runs 390s on the street.
That's like with a jet engine just about, right?
Well, it's a billet. It should be, but it's a billet Hemi on methanol with a 136 Pro Charger. Weighs about 2,100 pounds with a 36 inch tall tire, 18 inches wide.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Robert, the other day I saw you at a restaurant the other day. You had a beautiful car outside. Tell us about that 1966 car that you had out there.
My 1966 Shelby Cobra. That car, since I've grown up with my dad building cars, where my passion with cars come from, my dad and my brother, and doing classics and rares, and I always had passion for cars that you don't see every day, that stand out, that have great history. And one of the cars that have no better history than is Carroll Shelby's Cobra. So that was a dream for 30 years. Finally found the one that I wanted. Wife and I, we got it. And then I spent 2.5 years, and you're never done. I spent the next 2.5 years, a lot with Dick, of completely going through the entire car. And the paint scheme that you saw,
Yeah.
is one of a kind. I've had that in my head for the last 20 years.
Right.
And just finally, like the passion of the cars and the dream of Fab Lab, that car just really came to fruition and kind of just launched everything off.
Well, I'll tell you, I lost everything off. I mean, your bank account must have been gone off too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money put into those cars, eh?
Yeah, now I'm going to be sleeping in the garage with my car tonight. Thanks for bringing that up, because I'm sure my wife's going to remember that checkbook.
Maybe
Yeah.
Well, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
She could look at an attorney saying, you know what?
At least I'll look good sleeping in it.
Dick, tell me a little bit more about your racing. I mean, what's with you say the speed on these cars? What kind of speed do they have again?
I mean, we race ace mile because the cars are so fast nowadays, you can't run the quarter mile like you used to. So on the street, we got cars running 390s at 205.
Wow.
So the reason I'm trying to bring street racing mainstream is because there's way more viewers, there's way more followers on Instagram than any professional race driver. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to bring the small tire racing though. That's what the guy with the limited budget, smaller tire, is probably an eighth of the money, could actually go out there and race and have a really good time, family friendly, and just go have fun.
Now, what kind of wear time are those tires? I mean,
small tire like my Falcon, I got a 2200 horsepower Falcon. Those tires last about 9 passes.
9 passes, that's it.
And they're $360 each.
Wow.
So
that's
that's at the highest level. If you want to run a slower car, you can get probably 30, 40 passes out of it.
So that means that if you want to go into that kind of a business, you guys out there, you viewers out there, you're thinking about getting one of those cars, look at your checking account first.
Well, if you want to race at the highest level, they say if you want to have $1 million, start with $2 million. that's how much it costs.
Wow,
it's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that submarine, unfortunately, that went down last week. The people went on it. They went with like $250,000.
$250,000.
I mean, just for a little, just go see another ship underneath the water. I mean, that's a lot of money. People got to have a lot of money. One of the guys was on there, fortunately, who made the rest in peace. I mean, billionaire.
Billionaire, yeah.
When you got to have big money to be in this kind of hobby. I guess being in the hobby that you guys are in, you got to think about. You got to be kind of well off to not just every Tom, Dick, and Harry walk in the street can get into your business. They want to have as a hobby. You got to have a nice bank account.
What we do, it's not what you need, it's what you want. That's the difference.
That's different.
So, and it's like you told the submarine accident, there's guys that could put $600,000 into a car, and within 2 seconds of racing, crash it and destroy it.
It's right, unbelievable.
So, I mean, racing nowadays is huge, and it's not even like it used to be. It's ridiculous.
What's on the horizon for the future of your racing?
Well, I want to start getting an electric.
Electric.
I don't think electric is going to take over because it just doesn't have the power of gas. I think it's going to be an alternative fuel like hydrogen, or what we run methanol. That takes twice as much fuel to get the same energy, and everything runs cooler, and it's a tenth of the money. So if the big corporations could figure that out, instead of using gasoline, I think that's the way to do it.
But I was thinking about the batteries in those cars. I mean, the battery's pretty expensive, I would say.
They are.
Yeah.
But if you're out racing, you need giant diesel-powered generators to charge those batteries. People don't understand that part yet. So the technology of the batteries has to get a lot better before that would take off.
How about if you're going to dispose of those batteries? Where are they going to dispose of the batteries? Huh?
You can't. They're a hazard.
I know. So isn't that a...
And
they're talking about all the cars in this country by 2030, they're going to be all electric cars? Come on.
There's going to be hundreds of acres of just cars parked there leaking into the ground and all that. So the problem with this electric is the batteries. The technology is good enough to refine that yet.
So we're talking about green. Those batteries are going to be hazardous to the environment.
It's probably more toxic to mine and build one of electric cars than actually the nowadays modern car with gasoline.
Are they thinking about these guys talking about all these electric? Are they thinking about the repercussions what can happen down the line?
No. You know how big corporations are. It's all about the money.
About the money.
If you have like a 1980 Lincoln, we'll just say, sitting on the street not running, that pollutes the air more than a 2023 car running nowadays. That's how good the cars are nowadays. That's the difference.
Okay.
And plus, you got to worry about the batteries leaking the vapor. You have to have a vapor. You have to have a cooling system for the batteries. And that's all going to be leaking in the atmosphere.
Would that be kind of dangerous? So they're talking about leaking. Would that be dangerous for the drivers in there if there's a leak in there?
Well, here's the problem. Those batteries are so dangerous. When they start burning, the fire department doesn't have a chemical to put the fire out yet.
Wow.
So they don't have the technology to put the fire out. So that's why I see these huge burning cars. That's because you can't put them out.
So why are these politicians talking so much about electric cars?
You know how it is, like this. Give me the money. That's all they worry about.
And they're not thinking about the future.
Nothing.
They're talking about green.
No. I mean, there's fuels, E85 fuel out there, M1 methanol, and there's cars you get 150 miles per gallon. That's the way I think it should go. Even hydrogen is safer. I mean, but for some reason they're stuck in an electric. I mean, electric is going to work great 20, 30 years from now, but not now. There's no, the technology isn't good enough yet.
I see here in Las Vegas, I see some buses that say they run on gas. How is that compared
I think
to
the buses run on diesel.
diesel? Is it?
Yeah.
Well, they've got some of those now. I've seen they have the electric, and then of course, now you see semis, freight line carriers that you have, Tesla's got out with those semis that are running. You have the diesels, some of those buses, they're running on propane, but there was not too long ago, I saw there was online where a bus that was electric on fire.
Okay,
And like Dick was saying, you can't shut it off. I mean, you think about back in the days, even when cordless drills and things came out and what you had, and you get on a plane and you go fly.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, you can't have those on your bags.
Right.
And that's just a little battery that you can't take on a plane.
Right.
And you have these cars that are doing that, but like Dick said, it's the money and the politics and the power.
I mean,
Oil versus gas
Yes.
versus electric.
Yeah.
And the hype is still on the EV because it's new and all of that, but you don't hear the common sense of going, wait a minute, this car is going down the road and you can't go on to a plane with a cordless battery.
Yeah. I mean, it's like farm equipment, though. You're running the tractor for, what 3 weeks straight? Say it goes dead. How are you going to bring that back to charge it? I mean, diesel's still a far superior industrial fuel to use.
Right.
So that's a huge issue.
So there's a lot of experts out there that should be talking to these politicians about before you go to the next level. They're talking about all these things, but they haven't really looked and say, wait a minute, let's stop it. There's a lot of red flags that go up there before you start going into all these next level of electric cars and whatnot. Now, how about the fuel? Now, is the fuel going to be going any lower in the near future?
It probably won't.
Or is it going to keep going higher?
Oh, you already know that answer. Once the politicians get a taste of that money, they're not going to say, "Hey, I got a deal. Let's restructure for the citizens. Don't pay more money." That's never going to happen.
No.
They're never.
Wow.
Because I mean, the barrel of oil. How much is it with fuel? How much is it? What is it? 10% of the oil goes towards fuel. The rest, like plastic and rubber and stuff. I mean, that's something I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they do with fuel. It's always some unknown, mysterious reason why fuel just went up. Oh, there's a fuel line on the East Coast that got damaged.
yeah.
So Nevada, because of that, we just went up $1.50 a gallon.
Yeah, well,
There's no rhyme or reason to it other than the opportunity that someone goes and takes and go, well, I'm just going to charge it.
Yeah, well, the taxes, they include that with the taxes. Your taxes go up higher, and they include the cost of fuel and whatever. It's just crazy the way it's going out there. I don't see it getting any better in the very near future at all.
Well, I ask a politician. You got the Port of California, all of them. That's where the oil comes in.
Right.
Why is that $8 a gallon, but in the middle of Kansas, when you got to transport all the fuel there? Why is it $4 cheaper?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So that's the reason why it's never going to go down. It's never going to happen.
We got to go to the Capitol Hill and talk to them about what the
The
hell's going
problem
on.
is, guys like us, the small business owners, we don't have a voice.
You don't
Our
have a
voice
voice,
isn't big
yeah.
enough. Absolutely not.
And that's the problem. You're the guy that they need out there. Maybe that's why I brought you on the show, for our viewers out there to listen what's really going on behind the scenes, guys.
Yeah.
You got to see these are experts. They know what they're talking about.
So we try to help maximize, like with the vehicles, you go, the older cars that were carbureted back in the day and it wasn't advanced, to even where carburation has gone to. Now you have EFI, your fuel injection. Now you don't have a whole entire fuel injection, but they have things like a Holly Sniper that's the size of a carburetor, works about the same, but it's fuel injection. It gives you so much more fuel economy and efficiency.
Wow.
And you're not doing the electric.
Tell me a little bit about your steel industry. What else are you doing in the steel industry?
So I also own Custom Steelworks.
Okay.
If it's metal, we build it. From custom wine cellars to staircases to ornamental security doors to gates, fence panels, cabinets, furniture. We do a lot with live edge incorporated with steel. We'll do things like I have a live edge, a full complete engine that is incorporated with a 7-foot long double live edge poplar top that's filled with car parts and vegetation and bugs, and then fully resin poured, sandwiched in between the block, the intake, and the carburetor and the air cleaner. So it's auto meets nature. We make just crazy metal stuff that people want. And you know what we can do. A good part of that is because it's on the same property as the Fab Lab. My steel fabricators there work in conjunction with the fabricators doing the metal work on the cars and Innovation Racing in their cars. So this has been in the works for a long time between Dick and I, that actually today it's being launched, that we're taking his well-known nationwide company and our well-known company and everything that we do, and we're bringing them together under the same roof, and that's being launched today.
Are they creating anything to prevent rust with steel? I mean, that, I know there's been rust forever, but what do they do? Anything on the horizon? Any kind of chemicals used on steel for prevention of rust?
Yeah, well, they've done rust proofing on cars for decades and different. But you take certain things that Dick can speak more to on that, is on the racing end and those performance type cars, there's so much that's about weight. And you don't realize how much by doing that adds to weight. So they take that in. Some of the cars that we do already come rust proof from the dealership that you all know. We pay all this money for it. They said it's done, but doesn't matter. You go let that car sit up in Massachusetts or Maine, it's going to rust sitting
right.
on the ocean.
Right.
But they're always coming out with new products like 3M and all these different manufacturers that you can put on to help inhibit, that also give a finished look. You can get them where they're colored or textured, so it still enhance, but help it out. I've got one of the vehicles in our shop. It's a 1984 Range Rover Defender 90, right-hand drive. It sat in a creek in London,
Europe, yeah.
in UK, for 4 years. The gentleman got it, brought it back to the US. The entire frame was absolutely rutted out, the entire body underneath. So we've had it in there, and it's about 30 days from being done, and had to put a complete brand new full galvanized frame,
Right.
brand new motor, and rework all the metal back in it, and brought this back to life.
But that's like here in the States here, you got cars on the East Coast and the cars on the West Coast. There's a big difference with a lot of rust water cars on the East Coast than they are on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, you see a lot of people when they're posting, whether it's a car show or they're selling their car, hey, this is a California car.
Yeah.
You know, and then West Coast people look at and see this nice classic CUDA, and it's coming from PA or Boston.
Yeah, you don't want it.
And then they're like, no, let me rethink that
You
car.
would bring it up on a lift and look underneath first to see,
Yeah.
make sure that it's
Yeah,
not
we
rust.
have several lifts to bring them up, several lifts for
Check 'em out.
drive-ons. And like we've been talking, is soon to come very shortly, is especially help out with the racing community, is also a drive-on dyno, where you can test the power that your vehicle is putting out at the motor, putting it at the wheels, but it also helps with dynamics to make it more efficient, because you can see everything. Vehicles that come off from the dealership, Ford, Chevy, there's so many governors and computer controls that the car is so inhibited that there's so much more in there that we can go in and tap into and break out and make faster. One of my vehicles, I've got a 2007 Trailblazer SS. You know, those came out. It's a Corvette with a SUV body. They were 396 horse. Well, now that's 800 horse.
Yeah.
But when I took it from stock to some of the modifications up to 515 horsepower with the right tuning, I was getting better gas mileage than when it was stock.
What is the most expensive car? I believe it's a 300 SLR, something like that. A car that's worth like maybe over $30 billion. I have the most expensive car out there.
That's
I'm sure it's one-off cars that are that expensive.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to see those on the street anywhere.
No way.
Yeah, they have cars
Somebody's got
They're
Saudi Arabia owns
$30,
kind of
$40
Yeah.
million. I mean, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah,
Dubai.
Solid gold Mercedes. That
Yeah.
I'll watch on
weighs
social.
like 12,000 pounds.
Who will spend that kind of money on a car?
You know what? Most of the car guys are from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi
Most of the
Arabia.
guys with the high-end cars come from there.
Yeah.
Because most of the Americans like to drive their cars, you know, in straight lines and highways. European guys like to turn, but their roads aren't as good, so they have a different kind of car. For some reason, the Saudi Arabia guys like just to buy them and park them and just look at them.
Why is it that in Europe the steering wheel is on the right side and not on the left side like we are here in the United States?
Well, back in the day when we founded America, we came over, we wanted everything to do exact opposite from Europe. That's why we had a different freedom of religion. When we had horses, we hated them so much that we wanted to go on the left side of the car. So that's where all that started from. If you notice, all the countries that were conquered by Britain, whatever it is, they're all right-hand drive.
Yeah.
So that's why that
Because
is.
nobody ever thinks about it, but I'm always looking at, I like to think out the box. Why is it that they drive on the right side? I mean, when you go out there, you go walk in the streets in the United Kingdom, and you got to be careful when you cross the street because sometimes the cars are coming the opposite way, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just the opposite way here in the United States. We're on the right side, they're on the left side, or vice versa.
They started it, the hatred, and the people wanted to be different, and said, we're doing everything opposite of you guys, we're doing it our way, and that's how that is.
Can you imagine if that happened in marriages?
Oh, jeez.
That wouldn't work out too good.
Yeah, some of those get crazy. I mean, we've been in Rome where certain streets say they run westbound,
Right.
and after a certain part of the day, it's now eastbound.
Well, you're going to cross the
Now
street.
it's one way the other way.
When you cross the street, you better look both ways, and now you just look to the right. Because
Right.
you don't know where
Yeah,
what time
yeah.
of the day you are.
Gotta
If you're
pay
drinking,
attention
you may
all times.
forget. If you're drinking, you like to drink a lot of beer in Europe. If you're drinking, you cross at the wrong side at the wrong time. You look in the wrong way, you're going to get run over.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell me a little bit more about your racing. I mean, your racing is something that brings a lot of interest to a lot of young folks out there. They like to race these cars.
It's really not. When I say street racing, people think it's the kids in Hondas doing donuts. That's not racing.
Yeah.
What I do is we race all over the West Coast versus other cities or versus other groups, and it's big money racing with your big money car. You're not going to go out there and act a fool to destroy your car, because there's some shootouts that we race are $100,000 to win. I'm a grudge racer. That means that
You're what, right?
a grudge racer. That means if he has a car and I got a
I
car.
thought you said drug, but you
No,
grudge.
no,
Okay,
that's that's one thing about street racing. It's good. You can't be on drugs or drinking because you can't risk anything, which is
Okay.
good. So grudge racing means if he has a car and I got a car, my car's faster. No, my car's faster. Well, then we come up with, we'll just say, I'm going to run for $5,000 at this street at this time, so it's safe. Winner takes all. That's a grudge race.
I think one thing, if you viewers out there watching, you're talking about racing. If it's too expensive for you, go to flying racing pigeons, baby. It's a
Yeah.
little cheaper, right? You got the racing
Yeah.
pigeons from one part of the country to the other. You gets there how many days? It's a little cheaper than racing cars, I think. I mean, put you guys out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those pigeons would definitely put me out of business.
But tell me a little bit more about your steel industry. I mean, this is amazing. I have a table at home. It's made out of steel. It's a big steel table in my dining room. I mean, every time I look at it, I see a little scratch there. It gets a lot of scratches on it. How can you prevent it from getting so many scratches on it?
Well, some of it depends on the finishes that you're doing and the type of piece that you're doing.
Yeah.
Powder coating is a big one that you can add colors and different finishes to that piece that have a protection.
Mm-hmm.
It's still gonna scratch. How are you gonna get it out?
Right.
You're still gonna have a wood table that you
Right.
scratch, burn. You still have to finish it. But with the metal, you can take so many different paints and acids and powder coating and change all those. I have one of our tables is we call it the River Run. It's one of my own designs. It is a full big 52 by 96 inch table
Right.
that down the two sides is inlaid with black walnut,
Right.
and down the middle of it is an actual working river.
Wow.
So you can sit there and eat or desk or conference room or whatever.
And you can go fishing while you're at it too.
Yeah, and you have that nice little, that nice tranquil river that's going
Yeah.
down. We have one of my other dimes is a big piece. We call it Fire and Ice.
Wow.
that is a giant copper trough with a floating firebox
That's amazing.
at the top, and then an 8-foot waterfall.
Now, if I want to see that online on the website, you have a website I can see, look at those guys.
Yeah, we have it with Custom Steelworks, and actually we have with our website, Custom Steelworks is under construction, and so right now is the Fab Lab, because with the joining of Innovation Racing and Fab Lab, our RT guys are doing it, so hopefully that will be up sooner. But Custom Steelworks and Fab Lab, we're on Facebook, Instagram.
So somebody wants to
TikTok.
somebody wants to reach out to you right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You go to Fab Lab.
Yeah.
The
you can go
Fab
to
Lab?
The Fab Lab. I think it's fablablv.com. And then Fab Lab on Las Vegas on Facebook. And then Custom Steelworks, and Steelworks is one word, is also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So you can just reach out to us direct. And from simple gate repairs, you're in your backyard and something's rusted out, from simple fixes to that to I want this whole giant grand staircase in a wine cellar like we recently did and built. If you think it, we'll make
You can
it.
make it, huh? A nice bar, a nice wine room,
Yeah,
all steel, nice.
I actually have some of the stuff we have in our home, the wine cellar that we
Wine cellar.
put in with its own system and building all the wine racks for it. And outside the wine cellar, I actually have the first engine table with the live edge meets the car. That's an actual bar in the middle of the room, bringing the two together.
Pretty soon, I'm sure we're going to see you be in the wine industry as well. And include that in with part of your package to get the best wines in the world coming from Fab Lab.
Yeah.
Fab Lab wines. But I'm always thinking out the box. I'm a little creative when it comes to
Now
all
we
these
come
things.
up with a car that can actually
Yeah.
run off the wine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can, yeah.
You know?
Unbelievable.
I have a gate that he made for my house. He made
Really?
He made a gate so strong that I can't even drive my truck through it. I mean,
Wow.
it's a huge industrial gate.
Really?
I mean, it was insane.
We got to put that on the border now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, right?
it might be too small for that. Get a little taller and a little wider.
Yeah. But what else you want to tell me about your racing? I mean, I'm sure you got tons of stories you can tell.
Oh, I could sit here for hours with you. But my shop is designed for the build that you could drive a car anywhere you want to go and have the highest performance possible. So we could go from here to Alaska and back and have 3,000 horsepower if you wanted to. That's what I like to do. That's what we specialize in. Yeah. And most of the time, I get cars from other shops to build and fix, and then I have to do that underground so they don't. Their ego's involved with it, so I have to fix all that and do it all out. So with him, we tried to get all the shops included in all this stuff, but me and him are the only ones that actually do it. We have high quality stuff, and this is what we're trying to promote: that you could all work together, we could all make a really good quality car, and just hope just roll the dice and go for it.
So I guess you have a good relationship with the wheels, the tire industry,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you got to get the best tires that are available
Yeah.
for you, the longer wear.
Yeah, we run Hoosiers on the street, Mickey's on the track, and so weld wheels. That's the number one in the world. It's high quality stuff.
Now-
I'm a vendor for Holly. I'm a vendor for Weld. I'm a vendor for all these people because I only want to promote quality stuff.
When did the wheels first start? I mean, the wheels started hundreds of years ago, but I mean, the tire industry, when did that start?
Tires really changed in the 20s with the Model Ts, and with the Model A's, it became rubber, and they had wooden wheels. Now they
Right.
changed. And then the 60s was bias ply. And then in the early 70s, went to a radial type tire. That's what they have nowadays. So since the 70s, the tires really hasn't changed a whole lot in design, but the metal in the wheels changed a lot.
Now, these tires that you see on a lot of cars today, the tires maybe about, you get the rim is so big and then the tires are so thin on the tires. So little tire. Do you get a more of a rough
Yeah,
ride
it
with
rides
that?
horrible. It destroys bearings. It destroys everything in the car.
I thought so, yeah.
It destroys it. I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
But when you got a longer, taller sidewall, that's a more luxury car. It's
Yeah,
really
right.
nice.
Right.
The real rubber band car is horrible. It's like
Yeah.
riding a skateboard. It's bad.
The nice tire with the white rims on the
Yeah,
outside,
yeah.
with the white rubber on the.
Yeah.
It used to be nice with
Yeah,
white.
remember the old 50 Mercs, the big
Yeah,
white walls?
yeah.
Those things rode so great.
Nice.
And now it's completely opposite of that. Everything's real stiff and,
Yeah, and they must wear the like you said, the bearings on the wheels on the. It must be going crazy.
It's terrible.
A lot of repair, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what, I mean, me and him make a lot of money in the repairs, but
Yeah.
we don't want to lie to people and say this is going to, we want to do quality stuff and 100% honest, and that's hard to find in this city.
I want to get a nice softer ride than a rough ride.
Yeah, you want a good tire and a good strut. That's
Yeah,
the strut that controls the up and down in the car.
Along. How about the separation of tires? A lot of tires, they separate a lot about 20 years ago. Now they've improved the making of tires. I mean, it's not as before. You used to see go on the highway, you see so much separation.
Yeah.
You see tires all on the roads. You don't see that too much anymore.
Yeah,
They've improved
every
it?
couple of years the tires improve. The design stays the same, but you got to remember the roads are way better nowadays too.
Yeah.
So
That has a lot to do with
back
it.
in the day,
And
potholes.
and the heat got a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
Like in the southern states, the separation of tires are more frequent than it is back where it's colder because of the heat, right?
The cold does the damage to the tires.
Mm-hmm.
The heat exposes it.
Exactly.
Just like a battery, like the cold weather, like the heat kills batteries, but when you really need it, the cold exposes it. So it's the exact opposite of that.
Exactly.
So
That's amazing how people are just looking into this industry. There's a lot to talk about. We can talk about it forever. I can see already we've run out of time on our show talking about these good, beautiful topics. Our viewers out there, I'm glad that you were listening today to Tom to Dick and Robert with your industry. It's amazing. I'm glad we had you on the show today.
It was an honor.
It was definitely an honor, and really appreciate inviting us on.
Same here, buddy. Good luck to you. Again, if they want to reach you, Dick.
it's innovationracing.com, Innovation Racing 1 Instagram, and it's the same on Facebook.
And Robert?
FabLabLV.com, FabLab Las Vegas for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Well, you got it there, my friends. Take care. Catch you next week. Good luck. Keep your guards up at all time, guys. You guys are the best out there. Undisputed champions.